to the predictions recap for the Battle of Ohio podcast for Week 11. Remember, we're doing this as a separate video now. So basically, what happened this week is kind of basically the same thing that's been happening every week. Is Thomas did not perfect, but pretty well, and then me and TJ did not pick all the same teams, but ended up with the exact same record.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So Thomas, you went 9-4 this week on your predictions, and me and TJ both are 6-7 so far. All of these records, by the way, are pending the Buccaneers Rams game that happens tonight. And if the Buccaneers do in fact win, then me and TJ will both break even for the week, and you will be 10-4 for the week, which is not bad at all.
Yep, not bad at all.
So,
Not bad at all.
yeah, basically what happened this week, we all thought the Bengals were going to beat the Washington football team. That's, I think, the one that we will start with.
Okay.
And we all know that didn't happen, but I will say they should have. If it hadn't been for Joe Burrow getting hurt, we probably would have won that game because the momentum was on our side. We were outplaying the football team. It was 9-7 at the half, but it really should have been like multiple scores. The way they were playing, they just couldn't finish it. Like in half of the Joe Burrow fumbled the ball at the goal line. Randy Bullock missed 2 field goals and an extra point. It should have been a much more lopsided score than it was. But even despite all that, we were winning. So you can't tell me that if Joe Burrow hadn't gotten hurt, that we wouldn't have put that game out to dry. But then again, the Bengals have been known this year for blowing leads, and the football team just last week almost came back against the Lions. So you never know, anything could have happened. But what did happen was Joe Burrow got hurt, and the Bengals just lost all of their energy after that, and the football team won, and then all of us failed at that prediction. Now, like I said, I don't think any of us should necessarily feel like we made a bad prediction there. It's just a freak thing happened.
Yo, if you see my facial expressions right now, I'm watching a video of this Cowboys Vikings game because I got that game wrong too. And I had no idea. Like, I had no idea what happened in this Cowboys Vikings game. Honestly, I had seen no highlights of it. And the first video I see is Cousins getting tackled by 2 Dallas defenders. He gets tackled left, and as he spins around, another Dallas defender just jumps on him and just takes the ball away.
Wow.
It's quite an impressive play. If you haven't seen this game, literally just type in our highlights of the Cowboys versus Vikings. In the first game, you will see that first play is just hilarious.
Yet another bad Kirk Cousins performance. I don't know. Would you call that prime time? Because it was a 4 p.m. game. Some people call that prime time, which doesn't make any sense to me. But
I won't call that prime time.
I wouldn't necessarily.
I tell you, Andy Dalton though he looked. I mean, he looked pretty good. I mean,
my boy. I told you,
yards,
and I was going. I don't know who did and didn't watch the predictions episode with me and TJ because Thomas wasn't able to make it for that game. But I did mention that everything in me was saying, my gut was telling me to pick the Cowboys, but I didn't do it because I have a rule against picking NFC East teams right now. And I followed my brain and not my gut. And that's maybe been my problem all year. But my gut told me to go with the Cowboys because Andy Dalton is the greatest quarterback of all time when he's playing at 4 p.m. Can't play for shit.
You had me for a moment. You had me. You had me. Yeah.
I said it on the last podcast, but back when I wrote for Cincy Jungle, I put all of Andy Dalton's games. I looked at every single one of them, and I looked at his winning percentage in 4 p.m. games. I looked at his winning percentage in primetime games. And I looked at his winning percentage in 1 p.m. games and stuff like that. And he was, you know, as everybody knows, he's disproportionately bad at playing on like Monday night and Sunday night and Thursday night and stuff like that. But he is insanely disproportionately good at winning at 4 p.m. time slots. Like the lamest possible time slot to be like the ones where the lights are the least bright. That's when Andy Dalton really shines. So the fact that he had a good game doesn't surprise me in the bit. It
It's
doesn't
like the middle
surprise
of the
me in
day
the
when
least
half the
bit.
country's taking a nap.
You're right.
Like who
Everybody's
isn't
like
taking a
trying to
nap at
nurse
fun?
off the 1 p.m. hangover.
Like who isn't taking a nap at 4 o'clock on a Sunday? Like
Well,
who
not
isn't?
I'm
Like
not
grandma's
because I'm
taking a nap
insane
from
and I watch
church.
every game.
Grandma's taking a nap from church. Yeah, besides like the hardcore hard, but even still, like even I be taking it. Like I'm like, oh, that Browns game that took too much out of me. All that tweeting. I'm taking a nap by 4 o'clock. Like by
Right.
5 o'clock, I am napping. I'm not watching a 4 o'clock game. I'm taking a nap so I can watch the Sunday night game.
Yeah, no, I'm just a
Nobody watches at
dangerously
4 o'clock.
insane human being.
What do they call it? The game of the week is at 4 o'clock. I don't know why they call it the game of the week. Because who the hell is trying to watch
Yeah,
football at 4 o'clock? Like, I mean,
yeah, right. Like
yeah, but
nobody,
like,
nobody with any sanity.
I'm just saying, like, everybody's taking. If it's not your team playing, like, if it's
Yeah,
not your team playing at 4 o'clock, you're probably going to be taking a nap. That's nap time. Like 4 o'clock on a Sunday is literally nap
yeah.
time for the entire country.
But
Churchgoers.
I think this game was proof that I need to. But you see, here's the problem. Every time I follow my gut, I end up being wrong on this podcast.
College
It's
kids.
actually I've always been really good at doing predictions and stuff because I always just I got like this intuition that tell like I think I think this one could be an upset. I'm gonna pick it as an upset. Every year I'm really good at that, and just this year it's just I don't know why, but every time I try to get cute and pick an upset or something, it backfires on me. And then in certain situations like that, when my gut tells me to do it and I ignore it, then it happens. So I don't even know what to do at this point with these upset games. I might as
Yeah.
well just I might as well just do conventional picks for every single game and then just try to like mitigate my record at that point because then I'll at least have a mostly good record every week.
This Cowboy game is nuts.
Yeah.
This Cowboys game is crazy, dude. I'm like, I'm kind of mad I missed that. It's just that it's at 4 o'clock, man. Nobody in the country is at 4 o'clock, man. You got college kids, they're nursing off their hangover, probably trying to, get into wherever they got into Saturday night. Or whoever they got into Saturday night. Man, realistically, the Cowboys could win the NFC East and make the playoffs.
That's so depressing. Because every team in that division is a 3-win team right now. The Eagles are winning because they're 3-6-1. The Eagles are winning because they tied a game. In fact, it is. I said the Bengals right now are worse than every NFC East team right now, which is depressing to say. But we're also the reason why the Eagles are winning the NFC East.
Which is ironic because they're the one in first place technically. Like they're like the NFC East champ. That division is so bad.
Yeah.
That division is just so bad. Like
Carson Wentz apparently isn't such trash that he can even stop the Eagles from winning the NFC East.
Do you think? Okay, let me ask this question real quick. Do you think every team in that division is going to lose one more game? At least one more game.
Do I think every team in the division is going to lose at least one more game?
If every team in the NFC East lose 2 more games, then before the end of the season, then a team in the NFC East will not be over 500 when they reach playoffs. I was just
yeah,
just put that out there.
Well, I firmly believe that we're going to get a 5 or 6 win team in the playoffs from the NFC East this year.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that
I was saying that at the beginning of the year when I did my predictions of the whole year, and people were like, "Oh, you're crazy! No team's actually going to make the playoffs at 5-11." But you know what? It might happen.
The NFC East, the NFC East is so bad, is you could literally go from having a top 10 pick to having a pick in the 20s. That's literally what's going to happen. Either you're going to have a top 10 pick because you missed the playoffs, or you're going to have a pick in the 20s. Like, that is just unfathomable.
It took a complete and utter self-implosion, as well as literally the worst possible thing that could happen this entire year for my Bengals, for the Washington football team to even be competitive with us. Like, if the Bengals had come out and put their A game out there, it wouldn't have even been close. And the Washington football team is a half game out of first place in this division. So
if Carson Wentz, you're trash, you're gonna get benched. It's coming, bro. And I'm so happy they didn't bench you before the Browns game. So yeah, now bench him. Bring out Jalen Hurts. Let's see him mess it up. Let's see. Actually, no, their offensive line is worse than the Bengals. He's gonna be another. Okay, who we got next?
We got next. The next game that actually all of us got wrong was the New England Patriots and Houston Texans. Nobody saw the Texans winning coming.
Yeah, I thought the Patriots would. I thought the Patriots would kind of start to drive off the momentum from last week. I thought if they could beat the Ravens, they could beat the
that was exactly what
Texans.
I thought.
But what that game told me is the Ravens are a lot worse than we think they are. No, but like, it does, because like they didn't lose to the Ravens didn't lose to the Patriots in week 1 or 2. They lost to the Patriots in week 10
after struggling to the Jets.
Yeah, after struggling against the Jets. Yeah, like like the Patriots, they had no momentum coming to this game. They just flat out just lost. They got outplayed and outcoached by the Patriots, and now they get beat by the Titans. So I mean, like, my red flags for the Ravens just up all over. For the Patriots to lose to a team like the Texans, Deshaun Watson. When you have Deshaun Watson, you should be in every game. Deshaun Watson is just a great quarterback, and so like it doesn't surprise me that the Texans won. But it just the AFC is just so competitive. Maybe a lot of the struggles that teams like the Texans and the Patriots had is just how strong and competitive the AFC is this year. The AFC is just really freaking good this year. It's really freaking good, and it's eating up teams that will be very competitive in the NFC, and it's chewing them up and spitting them out. Like, there's so many teams in the AFC that will be just so good in the NFC right now that are just getting demolished by other AFC teams, because the AFC is just that good this year. Deshaun Watson always going to win some games they probably shouldn't win. So I never really left that team out to die, even when the Browns played them last week. I just always remember the fact that Deshaun Watson could probably just explode against us any moment. And it seemed like he would until Nick Chubb took over. So like that doesn't surprise me. That doesn't surprise me at all. It just doesn't surprise me at all. What do you think?
Doesn't surprise you that the Patriots lost?
Yeah.
I don't know. It surprised me that the Patriots lost. Like, I mean, I don't know, not entirely, because obviously the Patriots are not nearly as good as they've been in the past. But I mean, it's still a Bill Belichick coach team. It seemed like they were kind of starting to bring themselves back after beating the Ravens. And I know they struggled against the Jets, but they still won. It looked like they were starting to kind of get a hold of themselves enough to maybe make a playoff run of some sort. But losing to, again, I feel like I'm using this term a lot this year, the eviscerated remains of the Houston Texans. It's just like it makes it really hard to believe that they're going to really find that Belichick magic. And I don't know. I am a little surprised that the Patriots weren't able to take care of business against the Texans, because it seems like one of those gimme games for a team that is trying to prove that it belongs in the playoff discussion.
Obviously they don't.
Well, obviously they don't. We know that now. But
unless they win like 6 in a row,
maybe they could. What?
Unless they win like 6 in a row.
Well, yeah, now. But after beating the Ravens, I was starting to think, well, maybe they can turn this around. I think a lot of people were thinking that because it's still Bill Belichick, and that was a big win.
Yeah, even I kind of thought that. That's why I picked them to win this week. I don't know if I picked them against the Cardinals. They got the Jets, so they probably want to win one or two more. They got the Chargers. They're probably going to win one or two more games this year.
Mm.
They might. No. They actually, even still, like, I don't know. Like you said, they still are the page. I'm like going back and forth on this right now because, like, I could never just say Bill Belichick is going to win like two more games for the rest of the season because it's just so weird counting out the Patriots. It's just such a hard thing to do. And when a team's been that good for so long, it's so hard for us to look at them and say, this team's never going to be good again, or they're not going to be good for the rest of this season. And they got the Chargers, they'll probably beat them. The Jets, they can beat the Jets. And they're probably upset the Cardinals, the Rams, or the Dolphins, or the Bills. They're probably upset one of these teams. They might win more games than, they might even still go on a little run. They might win 3 or 4 more games, but even still, they're not making the playoffs. The AFC is way too competitive. I just don't see it. I just don't see it.
So the next game that I will very not humble brag a little bit on that y'all thought I was crazy for picking this one, but I was right because I saw it coming. This is one of those times I did listen to my gut, and I saw it coming, and I knew that Ravens offense just was not getting it done lately. And, the Titans knocked them out of the playoffs this year, so why can't they do it again this year? But I picked the Tennessee Titans to beat the Baltimore Ravens this week. You and TJ both did not agree with me, but that is a point for Kyle right there.
I wish I was here for that last podcast because I would love. Because it's not that I didn't think the Titans could win. I thought it was actually a toss-up game. I'm gonna be honest. I just picked the Ravens because I thought the Ravens needed the game more, so they play more hungry. I was wrong. Ravens lost. Titans got a W. What else can I say?
Well, I don't know if I agree with that though, because whichever team lost this game was going to be out of the playoffs.
Out of the playoff hunt, yeah.
No. Well, I mean, no, they're both obviously in the hunt no matter what. But had the Titans lost this game, they would have had the 8 seed, or been number 8 in the AFC. Whereas now the Ravens are number 8 in the AFC. But it would have been the Titans if they had lost this game. So I think they were both fighting. Especially with the Ravens having lost to the Patriots, that being kind of embarrassing, with the Titans having lost to the Bengals and that being kind of embarrassing. I think they were both almost in the exact same position as far as needing this game. I feel like the Titans have more. They may not be an entirely more complete team, but they have more completeness to them. I think. I don't know if I think Mike Vrabel is necessarily a better coach than John Harbaugh, but I do think that he is absolutely capable of out-coaching John Harbaugh, and he did do that. So I don't know. That's a lot of what I saw going into this game, and I, like you, I wasn't 100% confident that the Ravens were going to lose this game, but like I said, it was one of those gut feelings that I had, and I actually listened to myself this time, and it worked.
Well, congratulations. I'm happy for you because I didn't listen to my gut because my gut did tell me to pick Titans, and I didn't do it. I was like, I just don't think the Bears. I went back and forth on this game a lot. Trust me, I thought about this game. I thought about this game a lot.
So after having just talked about the game that I did listen to my gut on, let's now talk about one of the games that I did not listen to my gut on. As I've said a couple times, me and TJ actually laughed at you for picking was the Denver Broncos over the Miami Dolphins, which did in fact happen, by the way. What happened was the Dolphins defense just did not show up in the capacity that they seem to be so able to come up and show up in. Drew Lock had a pretty decent game. Jerry Jeudy had a pretty good game, and Tua Tagovailoa did not have a good game. Now, supposedly Ryan Flores said that he benched Tua because of potential injury issues. But I actually saw it came out later that part of the reason he was benched was due to performance. So I'm partially kind of thinking, what the hell are you doing, Brian Flores? How are you going to put the rookie in there and he has one bad game and you bench him? Like, that's not how you develop a rookie. Like, that is for all of the praise that Brian Flores has gotten for turning this Dolphins team around. In my opinion, that's a really bad move.
It kind of
you
seemed
can't just
like
do that with a young guy.
It's like you can't when you start a quarterback, you got to stick with him. You got to stick with him. When you start a young quarterback, you got to stick with him. You can't push and pull with him. And it reminded me of it kind of makes me think that he is feeling the playoff pressure. He's probably thinking, man, we're ahead of schedule because the Dolphins are ahead of schedule. They won some games they probably shouldn't have won, and they're probably like, oh wait, we're ahead of schedule. You know, we should probably do whatever we can to make the playoffs. So he probably felt like pulling him was the necessary action to have the opportunity to win the game and make the playoffs. I don't think it was a good move. I think he should have left Tua in. It's kind of like
here's my problem with that. There was an article that came out where Tua Tagovailoa mentioned that his father used to beat him after games if he threw an interception, like with a belt. You know, he got beat with a belt after throwing interceptions. And I actually have a friend of mine who I talk with football a lot about, who's a Dolphins fan, and he was saying that that might have an impact on the way he plays right now because he has the physical ability and the mental fortitude to really just sling the ball out there and really try to take chances and make plays work and stuff like that. But it seems like there's something in his head that's making him scared to really take chances. And honestly, if you're thinking about developing this guy and you're thinking and you just spent a high draft pick on this guy, then and he potentially has confidence issues like that, why would you bench him? You got to let him work through it. Like, I mean, the Dolphins didn't end up winning anyway. So why did you put Fitzpatrick in there? I don't know. It just seems like if you're going to like throw Tua in there and, see, if he could lead you to the playoffs and, like make the move when the move needed to be made, you can't renege on that. You can't just go back and potentially kill a guy's confidence who appears to already be kind of suffering some confidence issues anyway. It kind of reminds me of what the Cardinals did with Josh Rosen. Now they moved on from him, so they didn't really care. But at the same time, you're going to ruin a quarterback's confidence doing that. I've seen the Browns do that time and time again for years, just ruining quarterbacks' confidence because they don't want to commit to them. Like I said, for all of the praise that Brian Flores has got this year, I think that was a really bad move. And, he's going to have some work to do to turn that mentality around.
Wait, by the way, I want to ask you a question. We do this podcast together. I know you're a Bengals fan. Do you think that the Baker Mayfield said the Browns are the best backfield in the NFL? A lot of people on the internet are saying the Browns are the best backfield in the NFL. And Baker Mayfield said those guys are each top 5 running backs. When you hear that statement, true or false, the Browns are the best backfield in the NFL?
Oh, absolutely.
You think that's true?
Absolutely.
Okay.
True. Absolutely. I agree that they're top 5 running backs too, both of them. Because Kareem Hunt was a top 5 running back with Kansas City. So why the hell wouldn't he be with Cleveland? And then
that is true. You look at some of the plays he made this year.
You got Nick Chubb, who just from a current physical standpoint is probably the best running back in the NFL. So you probably got number 1 and number 5.
Yeah.
I remember being absolutely livid when I found out. It was kind of like with Stefanski. I remember when Kareem Hunt went to Cleveland. I'm like, oh no.
Kareem Hunt got a nose. He got a nose for that end zone though. He gets the ball. He's just looking for 6. I remember the first game I watched the Kareem Hunt, it was last year against the Steelers, and it was Freddie Kitchens. In the first half, Kareem Hunt had like 70 yards, and he was running all over the Steelers. And I'm like, dude, give the ball to this guy. Like, this guy is awesome. This guy is awesome. And then like they stopped giving him the ball. I'm like, why? Like, why? Like, man, and they just feed off each other too. It's just
speaking of the Browns. We don't really so much talk about this because I don't personally find it all that interesting to go revisit games that we all got right, and then there's just what do you really talk about? Like, I was right about that, haha. No, it's just like, we're right, moving on. But one game we did get right was we all picked the Browns to beat the Eagles because, I mean, honestly, duh.
Because Carson Wentz is trash.
Because, well, that's part of it, yeah. Because Carson Wentz is trash. I believe all three of us said that. I think TJ said that too. I remember I said that for you because you weren't there to say it, and I knew you wanted to.
I so badly wanted to say it. I wish I was tempted on going to the game and having a sign that said "Carson, you're trash." I'm never gonna be able to do that ever again in my life. I might one day buy some.
He's gonna be gone by the next time you guys play them.
I know. You know what's going to happen is that he's going to probably get some start for some team down the road. And if he does, I'm literally going to buy tickets to that game and a flight ticket to that game just to call him and just to bring a sign to tell him that he is trash. I want to do that. I'm not going to miss that opportunity. The next time they announce Carson Wentz is starting, and like, I don't know, he could be starting in Alaska. I am booking a flight to Alaska. And I'm bringing a sign that says, Carson, you are trash. That is inevitable.
That doesn't seem petty at all.
Don't care who's playing, man. You could be like, I don't care who's playing. I just want to say it. You can be playing Canadian football. I'm coming after you, Carson.
Another game that both me and TJ got wrong, and you did not get wrong, was the Indianapolis Colts and Green Bay Packers. Now, here was my reasoning for why I didn't think the Colts stood much of a chance, right? Because you want to talk about a team that looks like one of the biggest strugglers as far as like, the running game goes. You got Jonathan Taylor, who has just looked like awful the last couple of weeks. And you got like a couple nobodies behind him who are kind of holding down that running game. And that is the biggest area where the Green Bay Packers have struggled this year. And actually, if I believe that did end up being a pretty major factor in this game. Let's see. Box score. Colts got 140 yards rushing on the game. So that is kind of the formula for beating the Green Bay Packers this year, is putting together a strong rushing performance. And I just didn't think that the Colts had that in them because, you got Jonathan Taylor, who was supposed to be good, but has, kind of struggled in recent weeks. Then again, this week got 90 yards rushing on 22 carries. But the other guys, you got Jordan Wilkins and you got Naheem Hines. Like, these are, I'd never even heard of these guys before I started looking them up for fantasy football purposes because I got Jonathan Taylor on my team and he sucks. So the fact that the Colts put together a strong rushing performance to take advantage of the Packers' biggest weakness, to me, is pretty. I did not see that coming.
The reason why I picked the Colts is because I see the Colts. The beginning of the season, the Colts, or the middle of the season, the Colts had like a lot of injuries when the Browns got them. They were a very injury-heavy team, but they were still very competitive. There's always a competitive team. That game against the Packers, they just did a great job of just sticking around. That defense that's a very solid defense. And it got healthier. There's not really a game where the Colts got blown out in. They lost to the Jaguars week 1, but it was week 1 of the first game during pandemic football. Weird stuff was going to happen. But ever since then, they never got blown out. Aside from the 14-point loss against the Ravens, they just been handling their business.
Mm-hmm.
But the Colts not a bad team at all. So I looked at that. I was just like, man, I'm gonna go with the Ravens. The Colts. They proved me right. Philip Rivers shown that he's still a very serviceable quarterback. He's not doing what Tom Brady's doing, but Philip Rivers never Tom Brady anyway. So he's just doing what he needs to do to win.
You know
I hate that.
what I actually said about this game on the on last week's episode. As I said, the reason I was picking the Packers over the Colts this week was primarily just because I trust Aaron Rodgers more than I trust Phillip Rivers.
So Rivers,
And
I mean, who was
that is sort of kind of what happened. They both had really good games, but Aaron Rodgers slightly outplayed Phillip Rivers, and yet the Colts, found a way to win at the end. So, I mean, pretty much every single factor that I was analyzing for this game ended up being mostly right, except for the running game aspect. And yet my prediction was wrong. So I said, honestly, I like stuff like this happens. It makes me question everything that I think about. Like I think I know about football, honestly. I mean, I didn't think the Packers were going to blow the Colts out, but I thought that this would be, a definite win for the Packers, and that is not what happened. Another one that I was definitely not nearly as sure about, but I think I'm starting to develop a new rule here. I thought that the Detroit Lions would beat the Carolina Panthers. You and TJ both did not think that would happen, and that is definitely not what happened. The Panthers shut out the Lions actually 20-0, and I am getting really sick of your shit, Lions. Stop it. And it's not because y'all aren't winning and I want you to win. It isn't because y'all were losing when I wanted you to win, or it wasn't because y'all were winning when I wanted you to lose. It wasn't anything like that. It's the fact that every single time I say the Lions are going to do something, they do the opposite. And you're hurting my record every single week. It doesn't matter if I say you're going to win or you're going to lose. You do the thing that I said you're not going to do. So I don't know. Maybe I need to start thinking, oh, I'm about to pick this result for the Lions, and then I'm like, oh no, I should pick the other one because that's what's.
They didn't even score a point. Yo, by the way, shout outs to the quarterback that game. They had what's his name, PJ Walker, the guy he played for Houston, the Panthers.
Roughnecks, yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's the one who played quarterback for the Houston team.
Yeah.
Yeah, Houston, and he played for Houston in the XFL, if I'm not mistaken, right?
I believe he was he would have been the XFL MVP if the league hadn't folded.
He's a beast. He's a beast. Yeah, I like him.
He's really good, and I think I think the Panthers are kind of hoping that he kind of develops into the quarterback of the future because I think people like Teddy Bridgewater, but I think the window for Teddy Bridgewater developing into a franchise quarterback is probably past at this point. So I think
give me a 25-year-old. Huh? Yeah, no, give me a 25-year-old. I like him.
Yeah.
I like him.
PJ Walker's solid. I had I was it was kind of hard to really say that you're a fan, quote unquote, of any team in the XFL, but when I was watching the XFL, I didn't really particularly care much for the Houston Roughnecks, but I got to say I was always fascinated to watch PJ Walker play.
Yeah, me too. That was my favorite. I watched his game, watched a couple of Carlos Jones games, and I turned it off. I realized Carlos Jones wasn't shit. Yeah. But I PJ Walker though. I was watching his games, man. I thoroughly enjoyed watching him play. I actually enjoyed the XFL. I'm kind of mad they pandemic kind of ruined them.
Yeah, well, I mean, you heard the Rock bought the league, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they might be coming back actually.
Yeah.
After the pandemic. So anyway, moving on. One game that me and you actually predicted correctly, and for whatever reason, TJ disagreed with us, was on the Atlanta Falcons and New Orleans Saints. And me, I don't know. I'm kind of at the point with the Falcons where I really should be with the Lions, and that I just don't trust them in any way, shape, or form. And it pays off for me every week. I don't ever pick the Falcons, and they've won a couple of games, and I've ate my words then. But for the most part, the Falcons are not a good team. I know they look like a good team sometimes, but they aren't really a good team. They are like a fake good team. and they're not going to win against an actual good team like the Saints.
Yeah. Well, see, the thing was when I was looking at when I was making my prediction, I the Drew Brees injury, obviously. I didn't think they'll start Tyson Hill. I thought they would start but when they said they're gonna start Hill, I realized that they must at least believe that he has potential to win that game. They have more than enough potential to win that game. So I'm kinda that's why I picked them. Sorry, these little kids, man. I picked him because I trusted the coach of the thing, and I trusted his decision, and that paid off.
Yeah, that was. This was actually weirdly enough. This is one of those games where my gut kind of told me to pick the Falcons, and I kind of second guessed myself and decided to go with the team that I mentally trust more. And in this case, it actually worked. I actually was benefited this time by trusting my brain over my gut on this one.
Well, good job, Kyle.
Yeah.
Good job of using your brain.
Okay, so another one, actually, the final game that we'll talk about, another one where my in this case, my gut actually got me in trouble, and I probably should have trusted my brain on this one. Was the Thursday night game between the Seattle Seahawks and the Arizona Cardinals. And as I talked about on the solo podcast that I did, and as me and TJ talked about on the predictions episode that we did, Thomas just barely got his prediction to me in time. And actually, I believe the game started at 8:20 p.m. and he got his prediction to me at 8:22. So maybe I shouldn't technically count it. But I'm a good sport. I'm going to count it for him. Thomas picked the Seahawks.
I didn't even look at the game. I just texted you. I was like, let me get this game. Look at this game out real quick. I just sent it in. I was like, here you go. I just kind of tossed it in. Like, let me see the exact time when I sent that message.
It was 8:22 p.m.
Yep, 8:22 p.m.
Yep. 2 minutes after kickoff. But anyway,
did they really kick off on time though?
Did they really
kick off on time? They really kick off on time?
Probably not. I wasn't honestly. I didn't even turn the game on until you texted me. I'm like, oh shit, I forgot about the game. Yeah, the Seattle Seahawks did win. It was a very close game, and I was definitely not crazy for picking the Arizona Cardinals. But this is one of those situations where, like initially my first thought was like, you know what, that's a smart pick by Thomas. The Seahawks are a good team. Intelligently, I do think I agree. And then my gut kicked in. My gut was like, no, dude, I got a good feeling about the Cardinals this time, man. Trust me on this one. Trust me. I know. I see it. I got this vision, and nobody's going to believe you, but the Cardinals are going to win this game. And then they didn't. And I was like, damn you. So, yeah, Kyler Murray did not have a particularly great game. He didn't have the worst game I've ever seen out of a quarterback ever, but he definitely did not look. He definitely did not look like the same Kyler Murray that Hail Murray'd all over Buffalo.
Oh yeah, kid's special. He's talented. We're gonna see what's gonna happen when defenses start to adjust to him. Same story with young quarterbacks. I kind of realized you gotta keep the book open to young quarterbacks for about 3 years. I'm not gonna overreact or underreact to this game. I think the Cardinals are gonna still find a way into the playoffs in the NFC. I think they're gonna be good. I think they might even win a playoff game or two. So I'm not worried about I'm not worried about the Cardinals at all.
I'm not worried about the Cardinals. I think this was
Seahawks have the MVP.
Game. What?
The Seahawks have the MVP. So
hard to say. Russell has had some bad games this year too.
That is true.
I don't know if after a couple of bad games from Aaron Rodgers, a couple of bad games from Russell Wilson, and one particularly bad game from Kyler Murray. I'm not really sure if I feel like there's a definite like a for sure MVP this year. There's some guys who've definitely put up some good stuff, but I don't know if there's anybody who I would really say this guy is definitely for sure the MVP. I think like I said, I think it's kind of a race right now between Kyler, Rodgers, and Wilson. But I don't think any of them are really like so much farther ahead than any of the other ones that it's really going to be a really obvious answer. I don't think anybody's going to be like a unanimous MVP or anything like that. Um, and I think we might even get votes for Dalvin Cook at this point um, because there's no one who's really the clear far and away front runner. I think maybe even Patrick Mahomes could like sneak his way back in.
Or maybe Baker Mayfield could sneak his way in. Baker? No, he's not.
He's
That's not gonna happen. Unless he have like 3-5 touchdown games in a row.
If the Bengals look like shit the rest of their games, maybe Joe Burrow gets a shot for MVP.
I mean, well, look, let me say this. I think Baker's gonna have a good game next week because he's playing in Jacksonville and it's gonna be 70 degrees and he just played 3 straight weeks in like cold, windy, and rainy weather. So him playing in like this heat is gonna be just poetic justice for this offense. It's going to be so great for this offense. They're going to be so happy. They're like, oh my God, I can throw the ball and the weather won't affect it. like, I don't understand how you can watch those games. I don't understand how people in Cleveland who literally live in this weather, who don't want to go outside, because I didn't want to go outside the last 3 weeks, and literally live in this horrible weather to think, yeah, I can play football in this weather. Like, it's just been so bad. It's just been so bad.
Yeah.
Ugh. Cleveland. Ugh. Jacksonville is going to be so much fun for them. I wish I was in Jacksonville right now. Ugh. Cleveland. Ugh. Cleveland. Ugh.
I didn't even realize y'all were playing the Jaguars this week. So, I mean, if that's the case, then I definitely think Baker could have a really big performance this week. But I don't think it's going to change anything as far as him potentially being an MVP candidate.
Yeah, no, he's not going MVP. I got Russ. I don't think Russ is gonna win it. I think Russ is gonna win it. I got Russ.
Well, I think
I think
right
automatic.
Now my front runner would probably be Russell Wilson. But if Kyler can bounce back from the one bad game he had and put together a string of really good games the rest of the season, I think maybe don't count Kyler out because he's been pretty. I mean, just look at the way that the Cardinals were last year, and now that Kyler Murray's taken it to a different level, and suddenly they're like potential like dark horse Super Bowl contenders. That to me right there just tells me everything you need to know about Kyler Murray and the potential MVP conversation.
Yeah.
Kind of everything that the Bengals are hoping that Joe Burrow will do for them eventually when he, isn't hurt.
I think Burrow's gonna come back. He's gonna be great.
I think so too. It's like I mentioned on the main podcast a little bit ago. You compared him to Deshaun Watson when we were talking before the podcast, but more and more people.
Yeah, Deshaun Watson's fine.
Yeah, and he tore his ACL, but more and more players than ever are coming back from these major like ligament tears and ligament damage and stuff like that, and they're coming back and they're fine and sometimes better than they were before. And if there's anybody who I think could continue that trend, anybody who I would expect to have the work ethic and then the focus and the mentality to continue that trend is Joe Burrow. I don't see why not.
Yeah, he's gonna be fine, man. Just I mean, like as long as Joe Burrow does his workouts and everything, he got good people around him. Obviously, the Bengals are going to invest everything into him to make sure he comes back healthy because it is the franchise. The only thing I want to say is I wouldn't be surprised if he missed week 1 next year. So there's that possibility.
Although maybe, but I will say the fact that he got the fact that the injury came in like week 11, he's gonna have almost a full year to recover.
Yeah.
Like almost a full calendar year, minus like a month or two.
Yeah. I mean, at least he's not Klay Thompson. Yeah. That man just tore his Achilles. By the way, since we're talking about basketball, I gotta call out my Cavaliers. I know the football podcast, but you guys have not signed anybody. I know y'all probably trying. I'm like, who's going to sign with the Cleveland Cavaliers. But you guys sent out a tweet today that was like, oh, the Cavaliers assigned shooting guard Dion Dotson. Oh my God, Dion Dotson. Oh my God, get the NBA championship right now because the Cavs has got the Dion Dotson. I don't even know what position this man played for. They just clearly clarify what position this man plays for. It says he's shooting guard, and I'm not sure. He might be a small forward. You know what else they did? They re-signed Matthew Dellavedova. Matthew Dellavedova. Oh my God.
You know, I'm not exactly the biggest the biggest basketball expert of all time or anything, but I think if you're getting a small forward and a shooting guard confused, then you maybe need to go back to basketball school.
But no, it's just I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm just mad at my Cavs. I'm not a happy Cavs fan right now. I'm a happy Browns fan, but not a happy Cavs fan. I'm a pissed off Cavs fan right now.
You know what? I would take being a happy fan of any team, but all the teams in Cincinnati suck right now. Like,
what about
the Reds
UC?
aren't
They're like
playing. What?
UC is like ranked number 7 in the nation, right?
Oh yeah, UC's fine. So yeah, the college team's fine. But that's the thing. Like, Cincinnati's fine. Like historically, not like great, but I mean Cincinnati is fine when it comes to like minor leagues historically. Like UC on and off is sometimes halfway decent. Xavier is kind of on and off sometimes, at least in basketball, halfway decent. And in high school football, Cincinnati's one of the more competitive cities in the country. With the we got that minor league hockey team, the Cyclones, who they've won, some championships here and there. FC Cincinnati, the soccer team, when they were in the minor leagues, they were one of the best ever of all time. But suddenly they went to MLS and they've just been awful ever since. And the Reds are awful right now. At least the Reds have some championships, but good God. Like, I mean, and they made it to the playoffs. Good for them, but they looked like crap when they got there.
Well, yeah, they have a Cy Young winner. Trevor Bauer.
That's nice.
He's a good dude.
Good for him. I'm glad he won the Cy Young. I wish the Reds were a better team. So anyway, I think we're pretty much past the point of being on topic and just completely off topic at this point. So I think we're going to go ahead and wrap it up now. Thanks for listening to the predictions. This is the recap. Like I said, Thomas did much better than me this week, but I don't know. I didn't do too bad. If the Buccaneers win this tonight, then I went 7. Then I will have gone 7-7, and that's not too bad. But Thomas is looking at most likely 10-4, or if the Rams pull off the upset, it'll be 9-5. Which either way, that's still pretty good. So if you guys want to come on and do predictions with us, let us know. If you want to come on the main podcast, let us know. Thanks for listening, everybody, and we'll catch you next week.